If you're over 70 and still wearing the same haircut you've had for the last 20 years, sweetheart, this video might be the most important 3 minutes you watch all week. Because right now, there's a good chance your hairstyle is quietly adding years to your face. Not because you're doing anything wrong, but because nobody ever told you that hair that flatters you at 50 can start working against you after 70. Today I'm going to show you exactly which haircuts to stop wearing, and the 5 stunning alternatives that soften your features, lift your face, and make you look years younger. Starting with the one mistake almost every woman makes without even realizing it. I want you to really listen to what I'm about to say, because it could change the way people see you starting today. Nobody ever sits us down and tells us that the haircut that made us feel beautiful at 55 might be the very thing aging us now. It's not your fault. It's just that our hair changes, the texture, the thickness, the way it sits on our face. And if our hairstyle doesn't change with it, it can start to work against us instead of for us. Today, sweetheart, we're going to talk honestly about 5 haircuts that tend to add years to a woman's face after 70. And then this is the good part. I'm going to show you 5 gorgeous, flattering alternatives that do the exact opposite. These are the cuts that lift, soften, and brighten your whole face, the kind that make people stop and say, "You look wonderful," without even knowing why. Stay with me till the end, because the last one on this list is the one hairstylists say is the single most requested, instant youth cut for women over 70 right now. Let's get started. 1. The blunt, flat bob that's weighing down your whole face. Let's start with one of the most common mistakes I see. And I say this with so much love, the flat, blunt bob cut straight across with no layers. It was such a popular, polished style for decades, and there's a reason so many of us gravitated toward it. It felt neat, easy, low maintenance. But here's the honest truth nobody tells you. As our face naturally softens and our jawline changes with age, a heavy straight-across bob creates a hard, boxy frame that can actually emphasize sagging around the jaw and chin instead of camouflaging it. The weight of all that hair sitting at one length pulls everything downward, visually, even if the cut itself is perfectly healthy hair. It's a bit like putting a heavy, straight frame around a soft, gentle painting. The frame fights the art instead of complementing it. Add to that the fact that hair naturally loses density and shine as we age. And a blunt cut with no movement can look flat, stiff, and honestly a little tired, even on a great hair day. Many women keep this style because it once made them feel put together and professional. And that emotional attachment is completely understandable. But your face today is not the same face it was 20 years ago. And it deserves a cut that celebrates where you are now, not where you used to be. The fix isn't to abandon the bob altogether. Bobs can be beautiful at any age. It's about breaking up that heavy single line. Soft, feathered layers around the face instantly lift the eye upward, taking attention away from the jaw and toward your eyes and smile, which is exactly where you want it. A slightly longer length in the front, gently grazing the chin or jaw, creates a soft frame instead of a hard cutoff line. Think of it as trading a rigid picture frame for a soft, flowing curtain. Same idea, completely different feeling. Hairstylists who specialize in mature hair will often tell you that texture is everything after 70. It's not about cutting hair shorter or more conservatively, it's about cutting it smarter. A few well-placed layers, some soft point cutting at the ends to remove bulk, and suddenly that same bob that was aging you becomes the very thing that takes years off your appearance. And here's a small but powerful tip. Ask your stylist for invisible layers. Layers that are cut internally so the outer silhouette still looks polished and intentional, but the internal weight is lightened dramatically. This gives you movement without sacrificing that neat, elegant look so many of us love. If your bob has been feeling flat, heavy, or like it's dragging your whole face downward, this one small adjustment might be the most transformative 5 minutes you spend in the salon chair all year. Trust me, sweetheart, it's a small change with a surprisingly big impact. And it's often the very first thing a good stylist notices when they're trying to take years off a client's appearance. 2. Overgrown, shapeless long hair with no structure. Here's one that might feel a little personal. And I say it gently, because so many of us grew up believing that long hair was the ultimate symbol of femininity and beauty. And it absolutely can be, at any age. But there's a real difference between long hair that's intentional, healthy, and well-shaped, and long hair that's simply grown out over the years without any real structure or plan. This second type, Long, thinning, shapeless hair with no layers, no shaping, just length for the sake of length, is one of the most aging looks a woman over 70 can wear, and it's usually completely unintentional. As we age, our hair naturally becomes finer and loses density, especially toward the ends, where the hair is oldest and has been through the most wear. When that thinning hair is left long and untouched, all that fragility just hangs there, drawing attention to itself. The ends often look wispy, uneven, and tired rather than elegant. And instead of softening your face the way healthy long hair can, it actually drags the whole face downward, making cheeks look more hollow and the under-eye area look heavier than it really is. It's not that long hair is wrong for you. It's that long hair needs even more shaping and care as we age, not less. Think about it this way. Healthy, shaped long hair on a mature woman looks intentional and graceful, like a deliberate choice. Overgrown, shapeless long hair can accidentally signal the opposite. That hair simply hasn't been attended to in a while, even if that's not true at all. And unfortunately, our eyes read that visual cue instantly, often without us even realizing why a look feels aging. The beautiful solution here isn't necessarily to cut it all short. You can absolutely keep meaningful length if that's what makes you feel like yourself. The key is adding soft, long layers that remove the thin, stringy ends and replace them with movement and body. A long shag, for example, with generous layering throughout and soft curtain bangs framing the face, can give you nearly the same length you love while completely transforming how youthful and healthy your hair looks. Regular trims, even just an inch every 8 to 10 weeks, prevent that thin, tired look from creeping back in. And here's something many women don't realize. Adding subtle, soft waves or curls to long hair after 70 creates the illusion of thickness and volume that straight, flat long hair simply cannot achieve on its own. A light perm or even just styling with a curling wand can transform sparse-looking length into hair that reads as full, bouncy, and vibrant. The goal, sweetheart, is length with life in it, not length that's simply been left to grow without any real intention behind it. When you give overgrown hair real shape and movement again, you'll be amazed at how much lighter, brighter, and younger your whole face looks, almost overnight. 3. The tight, overly set helmet style that ages every face. Now let's talk about a style that so many women were taught was the proper way to wear their hair as they got older. The tightly set, heavily sprayed helmet style. You know the one. Every hair perfectly in place, set once a week at the salon, sprayed until it doesn't move even in strong wind. For decades, this was considered the gold standard of a put-together, respectable look, and I understand completely why so many women still gravitate toward it. It feels safe, familiar, and low maintenance between salon visits. But here's the honest, gentle truth. This rigid, uniform style is one of the most aging things a woman can do to her hair after 70, and it's almost entirely about texture and movement, not the haircut itself. When hair is set into one stiff, unmoving shape, it removes all sense of softness and life from the face. Human faces, especially as we age, benefit enormously from the illusion of movement and softness around them. It's part of what makes a look feel warm, approachable, and youthful rather than stern or dated. A helmet style set does the opposite. It creates a hard, static shell around a face that already has enough structure of its own. And the contrast between rigid, immobile hair and soft, expressive skin can actually emphasize the very lines and softness we're often trying to minimize. There's also a practical issue. Heavily set styles are almost always accompanied by significant volume at the crown that doesn't match the finer texture underneath, which can look artificial rather than naturally full. It's the difference between hair that looks alive and hair that looks like a sculpture sitting on top of the head. The wonderful news is that moving away from this look doesn't mean sacrificing that put together, just came from the salon feeling so many women love. It simply means trading rigidity for soft, natural movement. A layered cut with soft waves, styled with a large barrel curling iron rather than heavy setting lotion and rollers, gives you body and shape without the stiffness. Dry shampoo and a light hold mousse can help maintain style between washes without needing to lock everything into place with heavy spray. Ask your stylist specifically for soft set styling rather than a tight set. This usually means larger rollers or a diffuser used at lower heat, which creates gentle waves rather than tight, uniform curls. Another wonderful option is a soft, tousled pixie or bichia with textured piecewise styling. It gives that same sense of being groomed and intentional, but with air and movement built right in. The goal is hair that looks like it belongs to a living, breathing, warm woman, not hair that looks frozen in time. When you soften a rigid set into something with gentle movement, most women are shocked at how much friendlier and more youthful their whole face appears within seconds, without changing a single thing about their actual features. 4. Severe ultra-short cropped styles with no softness. This next one might surprise you, because short hair is often praised as the easy, practical choice for women as they age. And in many ways, it absolutely can be wonderful. But there's an important distinction between short hair that's soft, textured, and face-flattering, and short hair that's cropped so severely close to the head that it removes all softness from the face entirely. An ultra-short, tightly cropped cut with very little length anywhere, especially without any soft fringe or face-framing pieces, can be one of the harshest, most aging choices a woman over 70 can make, even though the intention behind choosing it is almost always practicality rather than style. Here's why it can work against you. Our faces naturally soften with age, which is not a flaw. It's simply the graceful reality of getting older. Hair, when styled thoughtfully, can beautifully complement that softness. But when hair is cropped extremely close with no length, no texture, and sharp, defined edges, it creates hard lines right against a soft, delicate face, and that contrast can be quite unforgiving. It removes the natural camouflage that a bit of length around the face provides, and it can inadvertently draw attention to areas many women feel most self-conscious about, like the neck and jawline. It's the visual equivalent of putting a stark, angular frame around a soft watercolor painting. The two textures simply fight each other instead of working in harmony. The beautiful solution here is not to abandon short hair. Short hair can be absolutely stunning and remains one of the most flattering, youthful choices for mature women when it's done correctly. The secret is softness. A pixie or bichette cut with textured, longer pieces on top, soft side-swept bangs, and gently tapered, rather than shaved, sides creates all the ease and practicality of short hair, while keeping that essential softness around the face. Adding a bit of length at the crown gives you room to style some volume and movement, which naturally lifts the whole face and draws the eye upward and outward, away from areas of concern. Ask your stylist for soft texturizing, rather than a sharp, precise crop. This means using thinning shears and point cutting techniques that create gentle, wispy movement rather than harsh, blunt edges. A light styling cream worked through with your fingers, rather than a comb, will also help maintain that soft, effortless texture day to day. 5. One-length hair with zero volume at the crown. Let's talk about the fifth and final haircut mistake. And this one is subtle, but it might be the most universally aging of them all. Hair with absolutely no volume or lift at the crown, styled in one flat length from root to end. This often happens gradually, without us even noticing, because as our hair naturally thins with age, it simply falls flatter against the scalp, and without intervention the crown area, right at the top and back of the head, starts to look sparse and deflated. Many women don't even realize this is happening because we see our hair from the front in the mirror every day, but it's often the very first thing others notice from the side or behind. Flat, deflated crown volume is deeply connected to how youthful a face reads overall. Because volume at the crown visually lifts the entire head, elongates the neck slightly, and creates a sense of energy and vitality. Without it, hair can look tired, thin, and defeated, even if the color and cut themselves are lovely. It's a bit like a beautiful dress hanging on a flat hanger versus one that's been properly steamed and shaped. The same fabric, but one looks alive and the other looks limp. The wonderful news is that this is one of the easiest aging haircut mistakes to fix, and it doesn't even necessarily require cutting your hair shorter. The first step is asking your stylist specifically about root lift layering, shorter internal layers cut near the crown that give your hair something to build volume from, rather than one uniform length weighing everything down. A few textured, shorter pieces at the crown, even if they're hidden underneath longer layers, can completely transform how full and lifted your hair appears. Beyond the cut itself, styling technique plays an enormous role. Blow-drying your roots in the opposite direction they'll ultimately fall, using a round brush lifted straight up and away from the scalp, trains hair to sit with more height and volume throughout the day. A light volumizing mousse applied specifically at the roots, rather than throughout the length, gives you lift without weighing hair down. Many women also find that a few strategically placed hair clips underneath the top layer while the hair sets, then removed once fully dry, create lasting root lift that lasts through the whole day. If you're someone who colors your hair, ask your stylist about subtle, soft highlights woven specifically around the crown. This creates the illusion of even more dimension and volume through contrast and light, even before you touch a single tool. This one adjustment, simply bringing life and lift back to the crown, is often the single change that makes people say, without quite knowing why, that you look years younger and more vibrant. It's proof that sometimes the smallest, most overlooked details make the very biggest difference. So there you have it, sweetheart. 5 haircut habits that can quietly add years to your face after 70, and 5 simple, beautiful adjustments that can bring them right back. The truth is, none of these mistakes are your fault. Hair changes as we age, and nobody hands us a manual explaining how to change with it. What matters now is that you know that a little softness, a little movement, a little lift can make all the difference between hair that ages you and hair that celebrates exactly who you are today. Confident, graceful, and absolutely beautiful. The next time you sit down in that salon chair, you'll walk in knowing exactly what to ask for, and that alone is a wonderful kind of power. Beauty doesn't have an expiration date, and neither does the joy of feeling good every time you catch your reflection. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to subscribe to Timeless Wisdom Path.